Welcome back to Space Universe. Today we are telling the story of a man who at the age of 29 was officially declared the richest person under 30 on the entire planet. A man whose net worth was estimated at $22 billion. A man who dressed in wrinkled shorts and a t-shirt, drove a Toyota Corolla and told the world he was giving everything away for the good of humanity. And then one morning in November 2022 the world woke up to discover that $8 billion belonging to ordinary people had simply vanished. This is the complete and documented story of Sam Bankman-Fried. How he built the second largest cryptocurrency exchange on Earth. How he stole billions from the people who trusted him. And how it all collapsed in 11 days. Samuel Benjamin Bankman-Fried was born on March 5, 1992 in Stanford, California. His parents were not ordinary people. Both of his parents were professors at Stanford Law School. His father Joseph Bankman was a specialist in tax law. His mother Barbara Fried was also a law professor and a prominent figure in academic circles focused on ethics and moral philosophy. Think about that for a moment. The man who would go on to commit what prosecutors called one of the largest financial frauds in American history was raised in a household where both parents were law professors at one of the most prestigious universities in the world. He grew up surrounded by intellectual conversations about rule systems, ethics, and the obligations human beings have to one another. Sam was by any measure an extraordinary student. He attended Crystal Springs Upland School, a highly regarded private school in Hillsborough, California. He was drawn early to mathematics and logic. He was the kind of student who did not just want to know the right answer but wanted to understand the underlying system that produced it. After high school he was accepted to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge, Massachusetts. MIT is consistently ranked among the top 2 or 3 universities in the world for science, mathematics, and engineering. He studied physics and mathematics. By all accounts he was a serious and capable student. But it was during his time at MIT that he encountered an idea that would shape everything he did for the next decade. That idea was called effective altruism. Effective altruism is a philosophical and social movement built around a straightforward premise. If you genuinely want to do good in the world, the most moral thing you can do is earn as much money as possible and then donate it strategically to causes that will save the most lives per dollar spent. The movement was popularized by philosophers like Peter Singer and Will MacAskill at Oxford University. It attracted a significant following among high-achieving students at elite universities. The logic was appealing to people who thought in systems and mathematics. You calculate the expected impact of different charitable interventions. You identify the ones with the highest return on human well-being. You fund those. And if you want to maximize your impact, you maximize your earnings first. Sam became a committed effective altruist during his MIT years. He attended events at the Center for Effective Altruism. He became convinced that the most impactful thing he could do with his life was not to work directly for a charity but to enter the highest-paying financial industry he could find, earn enormous amounts of money and then give most of it away. This philosophy, he later said, was the entire justification for everything he did. He was not building wealth for himself. He was building it for the world. That was the story he told. And for several years many very intelligent people believed it completely. After graduating from MIT in 2014, Sam joined Jane Street Capital, a quantitative trading firm headquartered in New York City. Jane Street is one of the most sophisticated and profitable trading firms in the world. It specializes in complex mathematical trading strategies and is known for hiring only the most analytically rigorous graduates from elite universities. Sam worked there for 3 years. He learned everything Jane Street could teach him about arbitrage, market making, and quantitative trading. He was good at it. By his own account, he also began donating significant portions of his salary to effective altruist causes during this period. Everything was proceeding according to the plan he had set for himself. In 2017 he left Jane Street, and while briefly working at the Center for Effective Altruism he began experimenting with cryptocurrency trading. He noticed something remarkable. The price of Bitcoin in Japan was significantly higher than the price of Bitcoin in the United States. This is called arbitrage. If you could buy Bitcoin cheaply in America and sell it at a higher price in Japan, you could make risk-free profit on the price difference. Sam organized a system to do exactly this. At its peak he was moving $25 million per day through this arbitrage operation. The profits were extraordinary. And the experience taught him something important. The cryptocurrency market was young, inefficient, and full of opportunities for someone who understood quantitative trading at the level he did. Later in 2017 he co-founded a company called Alameda Research. The name was deliberately chosen to sound like a neutral scientific institution rather than a trading firm. Alameda Research was a quantitative cryptocurrency trading firm. Its stated mission was to use sophisticated trading strategies to generate profits that would then be donated to effective altruist causes. Within months the company was making up to $1 million a day in profit. Sam owned approximately 90% of Alameda Research. He brought in other effective altruists from the network he had built at MIT and the Center for Effective Altruism. The team was young, brilliant, and operating with almost no external oversight. They moved from California to Hong Kong to take advantage of the less regulated cryptocurrency environment there. In April 2019 Sam founded a new company. He called it FTX. It was a cryptocurrency derivatives exchange. While most cryptocurrency exchanges at the time allowed people to simply buy and sell Bitcoin and other digital currencies, FTX was designed for more sophisticated financial products. Futures contracts. Options. Leveraged tokens that allowed traders to bet on price movements with borrowed money. It was essentially bringing the tools of professional Wall Street trading to the cryptocurrency world. FTX created its own digital token called FTT. This token was used as collateral within the FTX platform. And critically, Alameda Research became one of the largest holders of FTT before it was available to the public. This arrangement would later turn out to be the hidden fault line at the center of everything. FTX grew at a pace that stunned the financial world. Within 2 years of its founding, it had become the second largest cryptocurrency exchange on the planet. Sam was relentless in his marketing. He spent enormous amounts of money on sponsorships and advertising. FTX paid for naming rights to the Miami Heat basketball arena, which became FTX Arena. FTX ran a Super Bowl advertisement featuring the comedian Larry David. The company signed endorsement deals with Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen, who received equity in the company. Stephen Curry became a brand ambassador. In October 2021, Forbes magazine declared Sam Bankman-Fried the richest person under 30 years old in the world with a net worth of $22.5 billion. He was 29 years old. The image Sam projected to the world was carefully constructed. He wore the same thing every day. Shorts. A t-shirt. Rumpled hair. He drove a Toyota Corolla. He lived in a shared house. He gave interviews constantly talking about his commitment to giving away his fortune. He appeared before the United States Congress to discuss cryptocurrency regulation, presenting himself as a responsible actor who wanted the industry to be properly supervised. He became the second largest individual donor to Democratic Party campaigns in the 2022 midterm elections. He also donated to Republican causes through separate channels. He was everywhere. He was famous. He was trusted. He was on the covers of magazines. His parents, who were both still law professors at Stanford, received a home from their son worth approximately $16 million. And behind all of it was a secret that would eventually destroy everything. Alameda Research and FTX were not two separate independent companies. They were deeply financially entangled in a way that customers of FTX had never been told about and never consented to. When customers deposited money on the FTX platform, they believed their funds were being held safely and could be withdrawn at any time. What was actually happening was different. The money that customers deposited on FTX was being transferred to Alameda Research and used for a range of purposes that customers did not authorize. Alameda used the money to make speculative investments in other cryptocurrency projects. FTX executives including Sam used it to purchase luxury real estate in the Bahamas. It was used to fund political donations. It was used to invest in startup companies. Documents at trial showed that Bankman-Fried spent customer funds on Bahamian real estate startup investments and political donations. The money belonged to millions of ordinary people around the world who had trusted FTX with their savings. And it was gone. The mechanism that made this possible was the FTT token. Alameda Research had borrowed enormous amounts of money using FTT tokens as collateral. But the value of those FTT tokens depended entirely on FTX continuing to operate and be seen as trustworthy. If the value of FTT fell, Alameda's financial position would collapse. And if Alameda's financial position collapsed, the hidden link between the two companies would be exposed. The beginning of the end came in early November 2022. A website called CoinDesk published a leaked document. It was Alameda Research's balance sheet. What it revealed was shocking to anyone who understood what they were reading. A massive portion of Alameda's assets were held in FTT tokens. The company that was supposed to be an independent trading firm was in reality built almost entirely on tokens created by Sam's own exchange. The two companies were not separate. They were one interconnected structure held up by circular financial arrangements. Changpeng Zhao, known as CZ, was the founder of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, and at the time one of FTX's major investors. When he saw the leaked balance sheet, he made a public announcement. Binance would be selling all of its FTT holdings. The announcement was the equivalent of pulling the first thread of a sweater. Within hours, the price of FTT began to fall. Customers of FTX began to get nervous. They started withdrawing their money. When concerned customers began withdrawing money from the exchange, they were doing so at a rate of $120 million an hour. FTX was unable to meet the demand. The company simply did not have the money. Because the money was gone. CZ initially indicated that Binance might be willing to purchase FTX and rescue it. He looked at the books. After reviewing FTX's finances, which revealed a financial hole of $6 billion, he walked away from the deal. On November 11, 2022, FTX filed for bankruptcy. Sam resigned as CEO. He was replaced by John Ray, a restructuring specialist who had previously managed the bankruptcy of Enron, the largest corporate fraud case in American history at the time. When John Ray's team arrived and began looking at the actual financial records, what they found was extraordinary. There were essentially no proper financial records at all. Congressional hearings revealed that employees had handled invoices via instant messaging and that bookkeeping had been conducted using basic accounting software designed for small business use. One of the most sophisticated cryptocurrency exchanges in the world had been running its finances on a spreadsheet program designed for small restaurants and local shops. Up to $9 billion in customer funds had simply disappeared. In the days after the collapse, Sam did something that stunned legal experts and observers alike. He went on a media tour. He gave interviews to major outlets. He appeared at a cryptocurrency conference via video call. He posted on Twitter. He kept saying publicly that he had made mistakes and had not managed risk well, but that he had never intentionally committed fraud. His lawyers and advisors reportedly begged him to stop talking. He kept talking. In one interview, he acknowledged being left with roughly $100,000 in his bank account. Weeks earlier, his net worth had been estimated in the billions. On December 12, 2022, Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested at his penthouse in the Bahamas by the Royal Bahamas Police Force. He was extradited to the United States. He was charged with 7 criminal counts including wire fraud, conspiracy, securities fraud, commodities fraud, and money laundering. He pleaded not guilty. He was released on bail of $250 million secured by his parents' home and allowed to live under house arrest at his parents' property in California while awaiting trial. Additional charges were later added, including allegations that he had arranged the transfer of $40 million in cryptocurrency to Chinese government officials to unfreeze Alameda accounts that had been locked. His trial began in October 2023 in a federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. 3 of his closest associates and former friends testified against him. Caroline Ellison, who had been the CEO of Alameda Research and who had at one time been in a relationship with Sam, testified that he had directed her to commit fraud and that she had done so under his instruction. Gary Wang, the co-founder and chief technology officer of FTX, testified against him. Nishad Singh, the engineering chief, testified against him. All 3 had pleaded guilty to criminal charges and were cooperating with the government in exchange for consideration at their own sentencing. Sam took the stand in his own defense. He claimed that the collapse of FTX was the result of poor risk management and accounting errors, not deliberate fraud. He said he had not known the full extent of what Alameda was doing with customer funds. The judge who presided over the trial said he had never in 30 years on the federal bench seen a performance like Bankman-Fried's trial testimony. If Bankman-Fried was not outright lying during cross-examination by prosecutors, he was evasive, the judge said. The jury took less than 5 hours to reach a verdict. They found him guilty on all 7 criminal counts. On March 28, 2024, Sam Bankman-Fried stood before Judge Lewis Kaplan in the same federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan for sentencing. He addressed the court. He said he was sorry for what happened to customers and that it haunted him every day. The judge said that Bankman-Fried acknowledged his mistakes but never expressed a word of remorse for the commission of terrible crimes. The prosecutor Nicholas Roos told the court that FTX was created with criminality that was pervasive throughout and that Sam Bankman-Fried had stolen over $8 billion in customer money, emphasizing that it was not a liquidity crisis or mismanagement but theft. Judge Kaplan sentenced Sam Bankman-Fried to 25 years in federal prison. He also ordered a forfeiture of $11.02 billion. The forfeiture is intended to be paid over time and would follow Bankman-Fried for the rest of his life, requiring the vast majority of everything he earns after his release to go toward repaying victims. There is no parole in the federal system, but with good behavior and credits under the First Step Act, he could potentially serve as little as 12.5 years. His parents issued a statement outside the courthouse. They said they were heartbroken and would continue to fight for their son. Both of his parents had been sued by the new owners of FTX seeking to recover assets Sam had given them, including cash and a home valued at over $32 million. The victims of FTX numbered in the millions across more than 100 countries. Ordinary people who had put their savings into what they believed was a safe and reliable platform run by a young genius who said he wanted to save the world. At the sentencing, one victim named Sunil Kavuri told the court he had spoken with thousands of other victims. He said many of them were suffering from depression and taking prescription medication to cope with what had happened. He said he had suffered every day for 2 years and continued to suffer. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York said after the sentencing that Samuel Bankman-Fried orchestrated one of the largest financial frauds in history. The story of Sam Bankman-Fried is ultimately a story about the gap between what people say and what they do. He said he wanted to save the world. He built a machine to steal from it. He said he lived simply and gave everything away. He bought penthouse apartments and luxury properties while ordinary people's savings disappeared. He said he was transparent and wanted proper regulation. He ran a company with no real financial records and no meaningful oversight. He said at his sentencing that losing his companies was like losing his children. The judge noted that the people in the room who had actually lost something were the victims sitting in the gallery. Sam Bankman-Fried is currently serving his sentence in a federal correctional institution. He continues to appeal his conviction. If this video gave you something, then hit the like button right now. Subscribe to Space Universe because every week we cover the real documented stories behind the people and events that shaped our world. I will see you in the next one. Until then, keep asking questions.